Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Aviation Selection Test Battery Weekly. I'm Kino with STEMWithKino.com, and we have some questions in queue already. Actually, before we even, I looked earlier, I saw some emails coming in and everything. I hope everybody's being safe out there with the CV. You guys know what CV is. I'm not going to say the word. But I hope you guys are just being safe and careful out there and everything and taking the proper precautions and stuff like that. Um, okay. Um, there is one thing that I wanted to touch on primarily before I got into questions. You know, every time I start a live, I start coming up with themes or some issues that I need to talk about that I see that people are having issues with. The issue is in the mechanical comprehension section in the area of like the physics when we talk about falling objects. Um, First, we need to understand acceleration. All right. If I take this dry erase marker and I let it go, I take this dry erase marker and I let it go. When I release it, I'm releasing it from a position of rest. Okay, it's not rising, it's not falling, I'm just holding it. And I let it go and it starts to fall. Um, Gravity is going to take its, or gravity is going to influence this object to fall. Gravity falls at objects near the Earth at 9.8 meters per second squared, or 32 feet per second squared in the U.S. customary or the British units, however you want to label it, for lack of a better word. Okay, so what is acceleration? Acceleration is the pylon of speed. For instance, if I release something at 30, and we're talking about U.S. customary units, okay, 32 feet per second squared, okay. So I release the object, and in U.S. customary units, 32 feet per second squared. When I say 32 feet per second squared, I'm talking about acceleration, not velocity. The acceleration is the pylon of speed. Now, what do I mean? After 1 second, it's going to be falling at 32 feet per second squared. After the second, it's going to be falling at 62 feet per second. And I made a mistake. And see, I now caught myself. After 1 second, it's going to be falling at 32 feet per second. After the second, 64 feet per second. After the third, 96 feet per second. So it is the pylon of speed. When we talk about acceleration, these are velocities. Okay. So the velocity of the falling object would be 32 feet per second. After 1 second, after 2 seconds, 64 feet per second. After the third second, 96 feet per second. So it is very, very important that we understand the acceleration of gravity. When we talk about acceleration per se, like say horizontally, we're talking, we got the same pylon. There's a question I often use. An object is accelerated at 4 meters per second squared. That is the acceleration. If we start from rest, what this means is that after this first second, we're going to be moving at 4 meters per second. After the second, we're going to be moving at 8 meters per second. And after the third second, we're going to be moving at 12 meters per second. Now, little crowd participation from you guys. How much distance is covered in this 3 seconds? When this object is accelerated from rest at 4 meters per second squared, and then after 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, how much distance do we cover? Okay. Darren jumped right in. Boom. 24 meters. It is 24 meters because we have to look at the label. 4 meters per second. In this second, we cover 4 meters in that second. In this second, 8 meters per second, we cover 8 meters. And in this third second, we covered 12 meters Okay, so 4 plus 8 plus 12 is 24. This object has moved a distance of 24 meters. All right. So it's very, very important that you understand acceleration versus velocity. And Darren, Mr. Smarty Pants, because he's always throwing me the crazy questions. What is the velocity of this object? Well, 12, yeah. Velocity equals A times t squared. So yeah, it would be. That's an easy one, 12 meters per second. And that's too easy, Darren. I'll get you next time. Okay, so let's jump into the questions. I know that I have some people that are deployed, and I always like to address those guys first because they're out on deployment. Um, uh, Definitely thanking them for their service and making sure that their questions hold a little bit of a priority as we go through. So, all right. All right. So the first one is a percentage problem. I am posting it on. Let me get to the page. I am posting this on Facebook.com. I'm pulling up another page. No worries, guys. So I need one for the video comments to look at, and then I need to look at my actual post page. And I'm going there now, and I'm posting the problem. And if you guys want to feel free to jump in and answer the question, I definitely encourage that. But even before we go into that, either YouTube or Facebook, type 1 if you understood when I was understood what I meant when I was talking about acceleration versus velocity. Type 1 if you understood that. If I need to go in depth a little bit harder, then I will. All right. And another thing, why are we here? Why are we all here? Because we want to pass the aviation selection test battery or the officer aptitude rating test. If you're going to be an aviation applicant, then you need to take the full aviation selection test battery, which consists of aviation and nautical information. It consists of the math. It consists of the reading, and it consists of the mechanical comprehension, and there's a lot of physics concepts in there. So you can't, honestly, you can't just read the book and just be like, oh, I bought 3 books, I'm good. Again, and I stress this every week, you need to learn test taking strategy, and test taking. There's a lot that goes into test taking strategy. Like my guys that I mentor, I teach them that in a lot of cases, based on your multiple choice answers, you don't have to work out the problem all the way to completion. You don't have to, so you can save a lot of time that way. All right, so the question is posted on the Facebook post page. If you don't know where it is, you guys out there in YouTube land, I am going to drop a link. And give me a sec here so I can drop the link for you guys. And I am dropping the link now. Also, if you guys don't mind, let me know where you guys are from. Let me know where you guys are from, and let me know if you guys are preparing for the OAR. It could just be the state you're from and whether you're preparing for the OAR. If you want to say, hey, I'm an officer candidate, or if I'm an ROTC student, I'd like to know that information too. On YouTube, please like and subscribe, and on Facebook, guys, please follow me and make sure you like this video. Okay, so back to the question. It is posted. And this comes from a person that's on deployment. Okay. A TV set priced at $400 was reduced 25% during the weekend sale. In addition, there was a 10% discount for cash. So if you pay cash, they'll give you, I guess if you pay for by credit, you got 25% off. But then if you pay cash, they give you an additional 10% off. Okay, in addition, okay. So what was the cash price of the TV set during the sale? All right, and again, if you guys want to solve these and throw your answers up, don't ever worry about getting a question wrong, because this is where we make our mistakes, not on the test. So make all the mistakes you want here. On the test, I will correct you if need be. Okay, so this TV set is $400. All right, and we're gonna have a 25% deduction, and in addition, there'll be an extra 10% off. But that's the price after. All right, so you can look at this question a couple ways, and your target time for solving questions is, let's see if you're right, Darren. 60 seconds. Now, it's going to take me longer than 60 seconds because I'm stopping and I'm explaining things. And that's right. Now, you could take 400 and multiply by 0.75. That is 75%. All right. And it's real easy. 5 times 5 times 4 is 20, and then add the 2 zeros. Got to fill a zero. 7 times 4 is 28, and we'll add the 2 zeros. So 2800. All right. 0, 0, 0, 10, carry the 1, 3, and we have 2 decimal places. So after the 25% discount, all right, this TV is 30%, and that is $300. And then after an additional 10% discount, if I want to know 10% of any number, I'll just move the decimal over 1. So 10% of 300 is actually 30. So Darren was right. Our actual TV is going to cost us $270 if we pay the cash price. All right, kudos to Darren. All right. And hopefully we have, okay, Stacy, I see you. How are we coming along with that Skype connection, Stacy? Let me know. Via Skype. I think, no, we're not connected on Skype yet. Well, we'll talk. I sent you a link. All right. Let's see. I had a question because I was tutoring earlier today, and I was like, oh wow, they're sending questions already. Now this would suck if I can't find the question. I'll find it. All right, here we go. Okay, I hold everybody anonymity unless you say you want to be mentioned. I will not mention you, but I'll just say that the initials are ST. Initials ST. Okay, so let's go ahead and post this problem. This is what I call a working together problem. And all my people that work with me already, you guys already know. You already know. Okay, on Facebook, the question is posting. All right. Let me refresh. Because I'm going to have to read it. And let me just see something, because I do try to copy for my YouTubers. Yeah, it all came out, and you guys will just have to, I'll space them out a little bit here for my YouTube folks. Oh, that's not all gonna go. Bad. Really? Okay. I'm gonna have to do this in 2 parts. So here's the question for my YouTube guys, and here's the answers. Okay, one printing press can do a job in 8 hours. Another press can do the same job in 12 hours. How long would it take them to do a particular job if they work together? Again, you guys can jump the gun and answer the questions if you like. Our multiple choice answers are as follows: 4 hours and 12 minutes, 4 hours and 24 minutes, 4 hours and 36 minutes, 4 hours and 48 minutes, and E is 5 hours. Okay, so when we do a working together word problem, X, the number of hours or minutes that the first machine, or hours the first machine can do it is 8, and the second machine can do it in 12. And that's one job. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to figure out what I call the lowest common multiple between 8 and 12. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply each term by that lowest common multiple. The lowest common multiple between 8 and 12, just right off the top of my head, looks like 48. Because 8 times 6 is 48 and 12 times 4 is 48. So each term is going to be multiplied by 48. This term, and this term. And 48 over 1, because every whole number is over 1. So when I multiply this by 48, I'm going to have 6x. When I multiply this by 48 over 1, this is going to be 4x. And then 1 times 48 is 48. We're going to combine like terms, so 10x is equal to 48. All right, and then we're going to have to divide both sides by 10 to isolate x. We'll come here, 48 under the house, decimal 0 for accuracy, and we're going to divide by 10. 10 can't go into 4, but it can go into 48 4 times. Put our decimal there. We get 40, and 8 drops, and a 0 drops. Okay, and then 10 goes into 8 times, so 4.8 hours. 4.8 hours is 4 hours and 48 minutes, which is answer delta, or D. All right, so 4 hours and 48 minutes is the answer to the question. All right. And, okay. Let's see if I can get all of this. I may be able to get all of this from my YouTubers. All right. Is there an echo in there? No, just A through D. Okay, good. So for my YouTubers, we got all that in there. And for my Facebook followers, I'm dropping the question now. All right. Back to Facebook. And posting now. Okay. Let me refresh so I can look at it. And okay. All right. If the tax rate is 3.5%, and the amount of taxes to be raised is 6,640, what is the base? Okay. So basically, what this is saying is that we want to raise $6,640 specifically, and our tax rate is 3.5%. All right. All right. So this could, I mean, you could do a little decimal conversion here, but the 3.5% is going to be. But okay, so let's just get to the meat and potatoes of this thing. All right. Basically, we want to raise $6,640, and it will be X times, which would be the whole amount, times 3.5%, which would give us 6,000. So 0.035 is 3.5%. So if we have 3, and when you have trouble with percentages, just think about 50%. 0.5 is 50%. But if we go from decimal to percent form to 50%, the decimal floats over 2 spaces. All right, so if we have 3.5 or 3.5%, in order to get the decimal form, we have to move the decimal left 1, 2. So that's how we got 0.035. This is the unknown rate that we're looking for. Now, in order to isolate x, we have to divide both sides by 0.035. All right, and if we do that, then that's going to give us our x or unknown number that the taxes were based on with the 3.5% tax rate. All right, so it will be 0.035 outside of the house, 6,640. Now, initially the decimal will go here, right? But we can't do that because we have to move 1, 2, 3 on the outside. And whatever we do on the outside, we do on the inside. So the decimal will actually wind up there. Now, this is going to become a pretty long number. So you got to ask yourselves, how many times does 35 go into 66? And I want some crowd participation. How many times does 35 go into 66? I'll wait. Anybody? Darren, where you at, brother? You've been snapping off these answers left and right here. Okay. I know there's a delay. So one time. All right, so we can get in as many questions as possible. Okay. All right. Oh wow, the question just posted, according to my camera. All right. And Roberts, thank you for checking in. Appreciate that. So one time. And long division is not going away, guys. You can't use a calculator on this test. So you had best get used to long division. And even in problems like this. All right, so we subtract, and 6 minus 5 is 1, 3, and then the 4 drops. How many times does 335 go into 314? Gotta come to the side, 35. I'm thinking 8. And due to the multiple choice questions, it's got to be 8. All right, so 40, 24, 28. All right, so 35 times 8 is 280. Okay, we're going to subtract the 4 drops. 8 is too big. We take 1 out of that, drops to 2, 3, 4. All right, 3, 4. 4 drops, and sorry about that. 34, and then a 0 drops. So we ask ourselves, how many times does, make sure 8, 20, yeah, 34, that's right. Okay, so then we have to ask ourselves, how many times does 35 go into 340? All right, anybody? How many times does, okay, 35 go into 340? Somebody says 9 times. 35, I'm going to test it out, times 9. 5, 4, 27, 31, 315, 189. Now, maybe there was a question E that they cut off. Because the first question, and since none of these are 189, I'm thinking there's a problem with this. So, yeah, 189,714. And so I'm thinking maybe there was an E there because I used a calculator because none of the multiple choice answers jived. So maybe E was none of the above. All right, but 189,714 is the answer. And I just did that with a calculator because I could see when I got to this digit, none of them have 189. We have 180,000, 181,000, 182,000, 184,000. So I don't know. Maybe this was a bad published question, but specifically this 189,714. So ST, those are your initials. And you guys got to understand, sometimes they publish books, and that's why they make new editions, because there might be 10 questions in a book. That's a problem that were printed wrong. Are they going to take them all off the shelf? No, they're going to sell them to you because they spent money printing those books out, and they say, hey, look, 10 of them, you see a problem wrong, contact the publisher. Or here's a website, let us know, through their contact us. But specifically, none of those answers in the multiple choice were the answers. So ST or Sierra Tango, I'll say it phonetically because we all need to know our phonetic alphabets. Our letters phonetically. Yeah, that problem there's a flaw to it. All right, so just check your book and make a note of that in your test prep book. If for whatever reason they tell you, oh, it's 180,000, answer A, and because you got your questions, and then normally they have an answer key. So yeah, make sure, because 180,000, 181, 182, and 184,000 is not the answer to that question. And in the email, I only see alpha through delta. I don't see an E. All right. So, all right. But thank you for presenting those questions. And I guess you will see this video later. All right. Okay. All right. We reviewed that before. We reviewed that question again. And I'm only doing new questions, guys. If in a previous video I've done the question, you're going to have to go to the video, which is an Aviation Selection Test Battery Weekly 2020. Sometimes I label it 2020, sometimes not. But make sure you check out all my videos. That, type in Kino. My last name will automatically pop up. So I'm a YouTube partner. And, so you type in Kino, Thomas will automatically pop up. You can put a hyphen behind that, Aviation Selection Test Battery, or ASTB, OAR, whatever. You'll find a lot of Aviation Selection Test Battery videos. Okay, hold on. I wanted to address a question. There you go. I want to show you guys a demonstration, because this shows you that in a lot of cases you do not need to work the problem to completion in a lot of cases. And I'm about to show you why. This I'm not going to be able to post on YouTube because it's an image on something that we worked earlier. Sometimes I'll work with problems and I'll be like, okay, we don't even have to finish this out to completion. So, again, our target is 60 seconds for math problems. Sometimes you will get it in 60 seconds, sometimes it might take 2 minutes, But you definitely do not want to be spending 5 minutes on one question. If you are taking 5 minutes, 7 minutes on one question, you're not moving fast enough. Okay, because let's say if they gave you 30 minutes and you're going to spend 5 minutes per question, so you'll get through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You'll only get 6 questions done. So you're going to have to. What I teach my guys that I mentor are a lot of rapid math techniques to use. All right. So for my YouTubers, I'm going to verbally tell you what this is. Mike earns $7.50 an hour. This is what Mike makes an hour. If he works from 8:45 a.m. until 5:15 with 1 hour off for lunch, how much money does he earn in one day? Okay, answer A is $58.50. Answer B is $56.25. Answer C, $55. Answer D, $53.75. And finally, answer E comes in at $63.75. As I look at this, a lot of times I will just kind of break things down into what I call holes. Okay. So a lot of times, okay, we start at 8:45 a.m. and we're going to work until 5:15 a.m. Okay. What you could do is break this down. The military time will be 17:15. All right, 8:15 to 17:15. This will be 08:45. All right. So I'm not going to imagine that we're working till 7:15. I'm going to imagine that we're working to 17:45. Okay, which is 9 hours of time. Now I realize I'm going to have to deduct for the 1 hour lunch, and I'm going to have to deduct for the half hour differential because I stretched it from 45 to from 15 to 45, which is a half hour or 0.5 hours. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to deduct because we're not getting paid for the half hour we added, but it was easy to calculate the 9 hours quickly. All right, then we got to deduct for that half hour we added in the hour lunch. We take off an hour, that's 8 hours. We take off the half hour, it's 7.5 hours. So we're going to be based on 7.5 hours. Now, that should take you about 20 seconds, if that, to establish 8:45 to 17:45 is 9 hours minus a half hour minus an hour and a half. Now we're at 7.5 hours. Should take you about 30 seconds or so. All right. Now after this, we're going to calculate. Now in our multiple choice answers, we have watch the cents: 50 cents, 75 cents, 0 cents, 75, and 75. All right. Now we're going to multiply $7.50 or 7.5 times 7.5. Okay. Understand that there are two decimal places. All right. So, 5 times 5 is 25. All right. So it could be B, it could be D, or it could be E. I can throw out alpha and B because these last two digits are going to roll down and add, and 5 could possibly be at the end. Right, 37, because we carried the 2, 0, 35, and let me just, for the sake of time, because I'm trying to get as many questions in as possible. So basically, all right. So basically, what happens here is we get 5 and 35. So basically 0, 25, 37, 0, 35, and 351. All right. Why is this not coming out right, guys? Basically, the last two digits in our answer is going to be 25. So that will make us break it down to answer B being the answer. Okay. Again, I'm trying to get as many problems in as possible. But I'm not sure my calculator 5625 is the answer. But as you start adding and working your way over, you will see that 25 will come out in the wash for the most part. If that made sense, please type 1 in the chat, guys. Stacy was all over that. Answer B. Good job. Now, Stacy, yes or no? Did you have to work that all the way out to completion, or could you start seeing the answer as you were adding things up? Just let me know. I know. All right. Where am I? Okay. All right. All right. Seen it before. Okay, good. You saw it before completion. So that's my point. You don't have to work out these answers these questions full term in a lot of cases. Notifications. All right. All right. Okay. All right. Another thing that came up was terminal velocity. Terminal velocity is, a couple of my guys, they had problems with this week. And really understanding truly what terminal velocity is. Okay, so let's say we go on a field trip. We've all been on field trips if we've been in school, elementary or middle school, and even high school. Um, the school bus, big yellow school bus. Squeeze the sides in, the window drops, and you stick your hand out the window, maybe on a highway or something. You stick your hand out of the window, and you feel something moving. It's the wind. And actually, we call it wind, or we call it a relative wind, because the air molecules are not moving. You're actually moving through the air molecules, but it feels like wind because papers are flying around and stuff and everything. All right. So that is what we call air resistance. Okay. And terminal velocity occurs when the force from the air resistance actually equals the weight of the object. So the object still falls. The object still falls, but it just doesn't accelerate anymore. Remember when we were talking about gravity in metric units, the acceleration of gravity being 9.8 meters per second squared, and U.S. customary units or British units, 32 feet per second squared. It is a pylon every second, like I said. First second, 32 feet per second. Second, 64 feet per second. Third, 96 feet per second after the third second. So this object is continually building. All right. And as a result, what occurs is you get to a certain speed and it slows down. Now I'll actually on my Facebook page, look at my history and where you at? Okay. This is a guy, and forgive me if I am misspelling his name, but I believe it's Felix Baumgartner. Baumgartner. And in 2012, this guy, he got in a balloon and he went up to the edge of space and he actually jumped out. He jumped out. All right, so on the Facebook video, I posted it. I'm posting it on the STEMwithKino.com page, and I'm also going to post it on the YouTube. Just give me a moment. I'm dropping the links now in the chat so you can see. But I encourage you guys to watch this video. And this is my favorite video when I teach terminal velocity. And there's some things that I want you guys to pay attention to. There's going to be a speed monitor in miles per hour and also kilometers per hour, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, the link is dropped on all areas. Okay, it's dropped on the video, it's dropped on YouTube, and it's dropped on Facebook on the post page. So the guy, he jumps out, and the acceleration of gravity starts. And the guy's falling, and then you can see they're clocking his speed, right? And you see the speed building up, building up, building up, building up, building up, building up. 400 miles, 500 miles, 600 miles, 700 miles. When it gets past 710, the speed stops. It starts to slow down. He's still falling, but he's not accelerating anymore. So that's why I'm really, really trying to get into your heads, guys. You need to understand the difference between velocity and acceleration. Two different animals. Two different animals. The velocity is just your speed, distance divided by time. Your acceleration is the pylon every second, the 9.8 or the 32.32 feet per second squared, or the 98 feet per second squared. But then what happens is he's still falling, but he does not speed up. It's around 720 miles per hour. The speed just like boom, it stops at 721. So the whole time you see the speed building up, getting higher, 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 and then it slows down around 700, then it stops. Okay. What's going on is the air resistance will not allow that object, or I'm calling them object, sorry, Felix. It's not allowing Felix to fall or accelerate any faster. When he jumped out of the balloon, he's accelerating, falling towards the earth. And then around 721, it slows down. And then it comes to a stop. The speed or the acceleration stops because he's reached terminal velocity. And that is when the air resistance, the force of the air resistance, brings the acceleration to a halt. Again, he's still falling with speed, but he's not speeding up any faster. And then, after this, he starts to slow down. Now, can anybody tell me, and I'll wait a minute or so, can anybody tell me why he got even slower as he fell closer to the earth? Not you, Darren, because we talked about it. Darren will be like, I got it. Not you. Can anybody else in the room, either Facebook or YouTube, tell me why he slowed down even further, slower than his terminal velocity as he got closer to the earth? All right, Darren, you can answer if you want. All right, Darren will probably chime in while I'm explaining this because I realize that there is a delay. The reason why he got even slower is because, no, not ground effect. Not ground effect, Roberts. But thanks. Not ground effect. The atmosphere got denser. Okay, it's more denser. The atmosphere is denser near the surface of the Earth. The lower, the lower the altitude, the more dense that the air molecules are, and more atmospheric pressure. So the molecules at that high altitude, at 180,000 feet or however high he was, they're spaced apart. It's not a lot of density. But then if you get closer to the surface of the Earth, the atmospheric pressure pushes those air molecules together. So that created even more wind resistance. All right, and it slowed him down a little bit. It slowed him down 600 miles an hour, something like that, maybe. He was still falling fast, and I think I might be. But you guys have the link. If you guys, and I encourage you guys to check that video out and like the video as well. Um, but that is my favorite. When I saw that video and I saw the speed register, I was like, wow. And that is an awesome visual aid to help you understand terminal velocity. All right. Okay, so, all right, we got to get a distance, rate, and time problem in. It's my favorite, man. Distance, rate, and time problems are like a gimme. You want to be able to solve distance, rate, and time problems right on the fly. It's like a gimme. It's an easy point builder if you know what you're doing. So I'm actually going to use a special one. This is one of my favorites because this particular one throws a lot of people off. it throws a lot of people off, and a lot of people have problems solving it because there's so many what I call moving parts. There's no moving parts in a word problem, but you really have to specifically look at this problem. And my phrase is line by line and diagram. You read every line and you diagram it. Put it on paper so you can see it, because this question loses a lot of people. All right. Let me see if I can. Let's see here. See if I can get the whole thing. Copy this and share with my YouTubers. See if I cut that. Still not enough. YouTube. Cut. Okay, I got that down. All right. So the first part is posted for my YouTubers. It's under 9 hours. All right. Let me come back and get the rest of it. And I will read through this. But this particular question, I love throwing it in because it really shows me how, if the line by line diagram, if you're really truly using this process. And if you're not, this question will lose people every time, loses them every time. All right. So line by line and diagram, I read a line, diagram, read a line, diagram. Now you'll be very slow at it at first, but when you start to incorporate it, it becomes really, really easy. All right, and you could do this in 60 seconds. Okay. So a submarine left Hawaii 2 hours before an aircraft carrier. All right, so we have our sub, and let's say our sub left at noon. So it left 2 hours before an aircraft carrier. Now I'm reading along, and I know that these two objects are going in opposite directions, so it is an expansion, but there's a lot of moving parts. All right, so this guy leaves at noon, this guy leaves at 2 p.m. All right, the vessels travel in opposite directions. After the aircraft carrier, so this is the, I'll put AC for aircraft carrier. The aircraft carrier traveled 25 miles per hour for 9 hours. So what I do when the question looks like it's going to be an issue and a lot of moving parts, I'll just write DRT and DRT to target the specific distance, rate, and times and try to pull the information out of the question. So this aircraft carrier, 25 miles per hour for 9 hours. His rate was 25 mph, 9 hours. After this aircraft carrier traveled 25 miles an hour for 9 hours, after this time, the two vehicles were 280 miles apart. Thanks for the spoiler, Darren. So, that is the answer. But how you get to the answer is, in the distance, rate, and time scheme, distance, rate, and time. If I have two items like distance and time, or distance and rate, or rate times time, I can find the third out of distance and rate. Since we have two parts, distance equals rate times time. All right, 9 times 25. I believe it's 255, but I'm going to come here, 945, carry the 418, 225. All right, so 225. So after this aircraft carrier moved 9 hours, and sorry, Darren, it's cool. 9 hours for 25 miles per hour, it covered 225 miles. At this time, they were 280 miles apart. So 280 times, you got to subtract 225 because we know what this aircraft carrier did. After this, they were 280. So 280 minus 225, 7, 5, 55. So we know that this sub moved 55 miles. Now, 9 hours, that means that this guy moved at noon. It stopped at 11 p.m. because that's 9. It started at 9 p.m. and stopped at 11 p.m. This guy started at noon. He had a 2-hour head start. And at 11 p.m., this guy will have traveled 11 hours. The distance he traveled was 55. Again, now we have two parts of the distance, rate, and time puzzle. And 55 divided by 11 is 5 miles per hour. Okay. So, distance, rate, and time problems, you got to know how to execute them. They're like a gimme if you know how to do them. If you don't know how to do them, you'll be lost. And even when they get really, really tough like this, you got to have a system for breaking them down. And that's what I teach. All right. So, that's pretty much going to be a wrap for us as we just have 5 minutes to 6. Um, yeah, guys, you definitely want to be prepared and find a good tutor. Most people are not prepared for this test, and I say this every week. And I get the guys to come, oh, I took this test twice on my own, and you only have one more time to take it, even the ASTB or the OAR. You only get 3 shots at it. And a lot of times, I'm sorry, recruiters, you guys are going to hate me for this, but the recruiter will be like, yeah, just take it, see how you do. I don't subscribe to that. Be prepared. Because if you do really well on this test, it's going to change your life. It's going to change your life. So, at the end of the day, do I want to just come in and take it and see how I do? No. I want to be prepared. You do really well on this test, it'll change your life. You can have a great career and have an awesome retirement. It's just something I wouldn't play with it. So, find a good tutor. And now is an awesome time to be prepared for this test. Because, a lot of people, they're in their shelter in place type situations and everything like that. Get the books, study. Bring your questions here if you don't understand what you're reading. Yeah, the book said this is the answer, but I don't understand why this is the answer. Hence, the people that send me emails and stuff like that every week. And I'll try to get as many as I can done, questions as I can done in an hour. But I mean, hey, I'm here, Facebook, YouTube, every week. All right. So with that being said, guys, I hope you guys are all being safe out there, taking the proper precautions and social distancing and all that and everything. And we're gonna ride this thing out. Humans have survived all types of manner of issues, like in a biological sense. You know what I mean? For centuries. Okay. It might get some of us, won't get us all. And I know that's probably not, I probably shouldn't have said that like that, but I mean, it's the truth. So yeah, just take your proper precautions, guys, and be safe out there. And I look forward to seeing you all next week, next Friday, 5 p.m. Also, tomorrow is the SIFT, which is the Standard Instrument for Flight Training, live stream on YouTube and Facebook. Even if you are OAR, ASTB candidate, the math and the mechanical portions are very similar. So you can still bring questions, math and mechanical, even if you don't want to be a helicopter pilot. The math and the mechanical is the same. Okay, the only difference is the aviation portion, which I primarily focus on rotary wing aviation as opposed to fixed wing aviation. But even if you're in the Navy, you want to join the Navy, you want to become a helicopter pilot, I mean, there's some really good stuff in there that you will need to know before aviation pre-flight indoctrination and primary. All right, so I will see you guys next week. I hope to see you all. Let me give some new people that I see in the room. Okay, Quanisha. I think I might have seen you before. I'm not really sure, but I thank you for your feedback with the ground effect. Stacy, I've seen you before. All right, but no, thanks for checking in because you actually put in your location and the test that you're preparing for. Everybody's not doing that. And I just like to get a feel for, where you are and, people that I'm reaching out to. And I mean, you can type it in after the fact as well. Your location, where you're from. Some of you guys are deployed. A lot of people watch these videos after the fact or in their R&R when they're not on duty, when they're on deployment. But that's another situation that's awesome. If you are deployed and look, it's really not a whole lot to do. Order a SIFT book, order a OAR book, order ASTB ebook. You know what I'm saying? Make use of that time. Just don't let it be idle time. So 5:59, guys. I will see you guys next week. See you later. YouTube, peace out.